Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, let us see how to use the addition property to solve linear equations. So let us take an example here and then say if we want to solve this equation, which is of the form negative 5 over 6 is equal to a minus 1 over 4. We want to solve for a. When we look at this problem, since we want to solve for a, we are looking at the right hand side and then saying we have negative 1 over 4 which is associated with a. We want to isolate the a term, and therefore we need to get rid of the value negative 1 over 4 on the right hand side. And the way to do that is by using this addition property, and we're going to add a number which is equal to but opposite in sign of negative 1 over 4. And how do we write that? Let me write that here. Negative 5 over 6 plus 1 over 4, that is what we are introducing, and we're going to introduce that on both sides of the equation, is equal to a minus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. We are adding 1/4 to both sides of the equation. And by doing so, the positive 1 over 4 and negative 1 over 4 cancels out, leaving us with a as equal to negative 5 over 6 plus 1 over 4. Now it is just a matter of simplifying this. We'll call this one as step 2. In step 2, we have simplified the process after we've introduced a number. And in step 2, we want to simplify this. So we know that we want a common denominator here. 6 times what number is equal to a number? 4 times what number is equal to a number? Let's say that number is 12. Okay? So we know that 6 times 2 is equal to 12, 4 times 3 is equal to 12, and that will, if we were to multiply the denominator of the first fraction by 2, we get a common denominator of 12. If we multiply the second denominator by 3, we'll get a common denominator of 12. So how do we write this? Negative 5 over 6, we're going to multiply and divide by a number, and that number here is 2, isn't it? 6 times 2 is 12. And in the second part, 1 over 4, we're going to multiply and divide by a number, and that number here is going to be equal to 3. And all of that is equal to a. We want to find the value of a, and we will find the value of a by simplifying all of this. So in here, we'll simplify this some more. We'll multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Negative 5 times 2 is 10, divided by 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12, and all of that is equal to a. Now we have a common denominator. The common denominator is 12, and as long as the denominators are the same, we can combine the numerator parts. Negative 10 plus 3, and all of this is equal to a. Negative 10 plus 3 is going to be equal to negative 7 over 12 is equal to a. We got the value of the variable a, and now we got the solution. We want to go find to see if that solution is correct or not correct, or do we need to make some modifications to that. And to do that, we're going to check our work. How do we check? We're going to substitute the value of the solution what we've arrived at into the given equation. And what is our given equation? Our given equation is negative 5 over 6 is equal to a minus 1 over 4. Wherever we see a, we'll substitute negative 7 over 12. So negative 5 over 6 is equal to, the value of a is negative 7 over 12, and then the value we have next to that is negative 1 over 4. So we'll simplify the right hand side and see whether we arrive at negative 5 over 6, which we have on the left hand side. So to do that, we're going to find a common denominator here. So negative 7 over 12, we'll keep it as is, or we can also say we're going to multiply and divide by 1. By multiplying and dividing by 1, we are not changing anything. We're not changing anything. And then the second fraction we have is negative 1 over 4, and we are going to multiply and divide by a number. And this time, since we want a common denominator of 12, we're going to multiply and divide by 3. So now we are ready to simplify it some more. We multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Negative 7 times 1 is 7, 12 times 1 is 12, minus 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12. Since we have a common denominator of 12, and then we can combine the numerator parts, right? Negative 7, negative 3. Negative 7 plus negative 3 is negative 10 over 12. Negative 10 over 12. And since 10 and 12 are multiples of a common number, we can go back and then write this one as negative 5 times 2 is 10, and then 6 times 2 is 12, and therefore we can reduce it to negative 5 over 6, and that is exactly what we have on the left hand side. Negative 5 over 6, which is on the left hand side, is exactly equal to the value what we've arrived at on the right hand side, which is negative 5 over 6. So therefore the check is exactly correct. And this is the way we want to use the addition property to be able to solve linear equations. In my next presentation, we shall look at some more examples related to solving equations, and this time we will use the multiplication property.